and LeBron can do without the refs. All of that, it's jam-packed, but we're going to start actually out west. How about the Clippers and the Mavericks facing off with LA looking to go up 2-0 in the series. Tonight will be the 30th career playoff game for Luka Doncic. He scored at least 30 points in the playoffs 18 times. That's one shy of tying Elgin Baylor for the most through a player's first 30 playoff games, behind only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. That's the company. After missing Game 1, Kawhi Leonard remains questionable with a knee injury. The Clippers went 7-7 without Leonard during the regular season, but have lost 4 of the last 5 without him in the postseason if you go back to 2021. Now, winning the first game of this series has not always led to playoff success for the Clippers. The fans are like, we get it already. They're 4-7 all time when they hold a 1-0 lead in a best-of-7 series, the worst win percentage by any active franchise in that same scenario. And we've got our reporters on the scene all over it in LA. Tim McMahon has the Mavs, Masuk with the Clippers, and that's exactly where we'll start, with you. The latest on Kawhi Leonard. When potentially could we see a return to the court for him?
Elle, as you know, there's always a little bit of mystery surrounding Kawhi Leonard. I did see him this morning walk onto the floor just as shoot-around started when the media was kicked out. Yesterday, he participated in practice, but Ty Lue said there was no contact in that practice. I have been told that he is progressing and he is doing more. The team and Kawhi Leonard, frankly, are going to have to weigh if he plays tonight, or do you give him an extra 3 days off before Friday's Game 3? Make sure he's right, because the Clippers are going to be in this for the long haul. They're going to try to win this series and advance, and then hopefully maybe try to make it to their first Western Conference Finals, depending on who they play the next round. So this is something that they have been looking for. They need a healthy Kawhi Leonard. He has not played now in 9 straight games. I asked Norm Powell this morning, what did you learn? What did this team learn without Kawhi Leonard in April, especially in wins over Denver, Cleveland, and Phoenix? He said, we learned we have enough. That is a sentiment that Paul George said, but he also did add, with Kawhi Leonard, we're well over the top. We have to find out when Leonard will be back.
Yeah, here's something that I learned after Game 1. If James Harden goes full vintage mode again, he certainly buys them a little bit more time. Even without Kawhi, by the way, the Clippers 1.5-point favorites tonight. That's according to ESPN Bet. Masuk with the latest on that side. As for the Mavs side, well, you take a look at what happened here. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving scoring or assisting on 80 of the Mavs' 97 points in last Sunday's loss, but only one other Mav even touched double figures. They had 10 of the team's 14 assists, which were a season low for Dallas, by the way, and they only missed 2 shots at the free throw line, while the rest of the team missed 6 of their attempts. It was one of those toss it out the trash, burn it. We welcome Tim McMahon, who's with the Mavs right now. Coming off Game 1 where they had an incredibly slow start, Tim, what was Jason Kidd's message to the team heading into tonight?
Yeah, Jason Kidd told me that he had a real simple message. One thing he emphasized to the team was relax. He felt like they were nervous, they were uptight coming out in Game 1. Look, you look at the starting lineup, Derrick Jones Jr. had only played in 1 playoff series. Same for Daniel Gafford. P.J. Washington was making his playoff debut, and he felt like those guys were pressing a little bit. I mean, Gafford readily acknowledged that he was a complete no-show in the game. 14 minutes, no rebounds, got outplayed by Ivica Zubac. As he said, I have to be better than that and play the way they played the last 6 weeks of the season. That's kind of what Jay Kidd is stressing them. They were certainly loose after shoot-around today. Half-court shooting contest, all kinds of messing around. For what it's worth, Luka Doncic swished both of the attempts that I saw him take.
There you go. I mean, listen, for what it's worth, it can't really get worse than what we saw from the Mavs in the first half. They scored 30 points, 9 for 41 from the field, fewest points in a first half in franchise postseason history. But I mentioned James Harden, so more specifically, Tim, what's the Mavs' game plan to slow him down after he hung 28 on him in Game 1?
Well, obviously they've got to play him better on the defensive end, but they really felt like they let him off the hook on the other end of the floor. They did not make James Harden work defensively. So, will he have his legs for those step backs if they're putting him in action after action after action, making him guard, trying to attack him on the other end? They felt like they let him relax. They let him just be a help defender and stand still on a lot of defensive possessions. So I would anticipate that the Mavericks will make a priority trying to hunt James Harden and make him guard.
He had his fingerprints all over that game, scored or assisted on 49 points, and we showed a couple of those threes that he made, 6 of them in total in that game. Tim McMahon with the latest ahead of Game 2. Thank you. How about in the East? Game 2, Sixers led the Knicks by 5 points with 30 seconds and lost. Did you see this game? Jalen Brunson got a shooter's bounce on a 3, makes it a 2-point game. Dante DiVincenzo made his second attempt at a three to put New York ahead. Philly now trails 0-2, one of the wildest endings. And the Lakers blew an even bigger lead, 20 points in the second half. And after LeBron missed an open three with 13 seconds to go, Jamal Murray then hits the buzzer beater to win it all. Tony and Mike have more in studio in tonight's PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon. Which team is more likely to overcome its 2-0 deficit? The Sixers or the Lakers?
I think the Lakers are still going to make this like a 6-game series. I believe that. And they're going home now. Obviously, they got to get game 3 to fulfill that. But, Tony, I'm going to go with the Sixers. And it's going to depend entirely on Joel Embiid's health or relative health. He's dragging one leg around. He's going to continue doing that and play at this level. Maxey is great. He's averaging 34 points a game in this series. Tobias Harris, hello, where is he? All right, he and Nick Batum, I know they're expending energy chasing around Jalen Brunson and doing a hell of a job considering Jalen Brunson shooting about 8%. I'm exaggerating somewhat. But Tobias Harris can't be a 9-point scorer. Yeah. He's got to be a 15, 16-point scorer to give enough offense to Philly and Embiid and Maxey to get back in this series. I believe Tobias Harris will do that. I believe Philly will even this series 2-2.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be the Lakers.
Okay.
And I know you want it to be the Lakers. I don't think it's going to be the Lakers because you're asking them to win 4 out of 5 games against a team that has now beaten them 10 times in a row.
That could be the Lakers.
And last night's game, they had wonderful games out of LeBron James and Anthony Davis and still lost the game. And that felt like a gut punch to me. So they may win a game or two, but I'm not sure they will. So I would have to say the Sixers as well. And I'm changing my opinion of Joel Embiid. Now, I still think he's yapping, okay? But when he vowed that the Sixers would win this series, he is so invested in this. And the effort that he makes is so visible that I've come to like him. I wish he had made that last three. Because that seemed to be his shot, that three.
We'll close on this, this question. You have kept arm's distance from your Knicks all season. You have refused to believe in them or get invested. Are you now up 2-0 on Philly invested?
I think they're in control of the series, and I do like watching them play. And I will say that I thought last night's game, the last few minutes of that game, were as great as it gets for viewing sports ever. It was just wonderful because they were allowed to play.
Yeah.
They were allowed to play.
Yeah. Because there's some more good stuff to come in Philly. Somebody will be booing somebody. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
That's what they do. Thank you, fellas. Let's go to the NFL. For most teams, 3 straight 12-5 seasons, it's pretty good, right? Not in Dallas, where the Cowboys size expectations, especially since they haven't won a Super Bowl since 1995, and they haven't really done much this offseason, including giving Dak Prescott a new deal. Owner Jerry Jones had a pretty interesting explanation for that today. Listen up.
You may be working on it and not moving anything but your eyebrows. Who in the world would think that we're not working on it? I work on it. It pops open at 2 in the morning sometimes. What your actually question is why don't you have something done and negotiated and put in the drawer? Well, we'd like to see some more leaves fall. We'd like to see some more action. It's called option. And so you never know. You might give money to somebody that you shouldn't have given it to. You got 2 or 3 of those names around here for me? I've been reading about them all week. So I know they're out there. I shouldn't have handed it off as quick. Should have gone on out and seen a few more. See some more defense before I either pitched it or kept it. I want to see a few more cards played, candidly. If you got trouble with when the timing is around here, it's because I'm not ready to go.
Oh, we're so glad to bring in our NFL reporter, Jeff Darlington. We just heard Jerry Jones there. You tell us, give us some insight as to where things stand right now with the long-term deal with Dak Prescott.
Well, I can tell you the reason for that question is because Dak Prescott has made pretty clear publicly now that he doesn't see much movement, in fact, no movement really, in the negotiations between Prescott and the Cowboys. Now, we know going into this offseason that Prescott seemingly held all the leverage. He's owed $55 million this coming season, and then if he does reach March in free agency without a new deal, there'll be even more dead cap money that the Cowboys have to deal with. So it is an incentive for the Cowboys to get this deal done. You obviously understand that Jerry Jones is saying that he wants to get this deal done, but if he doesn't, this will be a one-year contract essentially this coming season for Dak Prescott, and then the Cowboys and Dak will have to go from there.
Yeah, you mentioned leverage, at least in terms of on the field. Dak took care of his part, finished second in MVP voting last season. A good quarterback, hard to find. Just ask the Commanders. Certainly they've got a need there, and they hold the number 2 pick right now. What more can you share with us about what they'll do with that number 2 pick?
Well, I can tell you this. Adam Peters, the general manager of the Commanders, has made very clear that they are firm with staying in that second spot, and they are targeting the quarterback position. Of course, which quarterback they're going to take at number 2 remains to be seen. We'll have to wait for Thursday for that. But again, publicly, that's what Peters is saying, and then privately, in my conversations with the Commanders, they are also making clear that they plan to stay put. Other teams have reached out to see if they're willing to give up that pick, if maybe the quarterback that they want could be had later.